Good morning, everybody. As somebody would say, happy almost Friday. Alrighty. While we're waiting for folks to come in, I'll go to Canvas and look up the section on sustainability practices. I'm going to go through a project with you, but we first need to know some background on what it's about. Uh, yes, I did just say project. I did just say, but hang on. Don't worry about it yet. I'll tell you. That is always your response. But that's the kind of class this is. It's a project-based class, so you're bound to run into one or two of them. All right. In the meantime, before I discuss that, and then we're going to watch a video first, and then I'll discuss the project with you. Please read over. So it is about sustainability. Yesterday, y'all were assigned to read over a PowerPoint, so I'm going to go back over that PowerPoint as well. But right now, I'd like you to read the Canvas section on sustainability practices. One of the other units had these three pillars where you could click on them and let me go back. It defined what the importance of those pillars. Uh, okay. And just take a look at, we're going to come back to that too. There's a whole list of acts that you need to be aware of. Come on. Okay. The three pillars. All right. So make sure that you actually um, do go back and click on each of these. All right, get out of it now. Okay. So we're going to come back and talk about these three pillars. So it helps that if you've looked at them to begin with. All right. So while we're waiting for folks to come in, just take a gander at Canvas. You should have read this page already, but if you haven't looked at the three pillars, look at them again because they do come up in today's module lesson on sustainability practices. So take a few minutes to look at that while we wait on some folks to come in. He said, why? Oh, I'm so sorry, Andre. It's the way the course was built. This particular course wants you to explore. And it's mostly because this is a here and now kind of thing. So the textbook information a lot of times is old and outdated, whereas we are current in real time with our environmental issues. So this is why we have to read the information. Some of these, look at this list of environmental acts. Some of the 1900s, 1970s, these are older than you. So some of these need to be readdressed and it's up to your generation to know about them and address them and redo them. Some of them are okay. Um, we haven't looked at this one now. We haven't changed our pesticide policy since 1972. Like I said, some of these are older than you. So that's how ancient these acts are. So, like I said, take it about 10 minutes while I'm waiting for folks to come in, and read over the module. We're going to watch a video and then I'll explain the project to you. Mhm. All right, so if you haven't gotten through that, I know you'll have more time to read over, but I just want you to be aware of the information that is in your module before you start um, researching elsewhere. All right, and I'm going to say this one more time for the benefit of those who just came in. All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, we are reading Canvas. We are reading, we're particularly reading today's lesson on sustainability practices, uh, looking at our social, environmental, and economic issues and the impact that they have globally. All right, you want to make sure that you go through this flip book activity in order to answer, because those meanings up there are the same definitions that they have in this activity here. All right, so take a few minutes to read that over. When I look at Go Guardian, I want to see everybody reading. It's about 10 minutes. I'm going to show a video. Doing attendance. Everybody should be in Canvas looking at sustainable practices. Everybody is not in Canvas. Y'all are logged in, but not where you need to be. Folks, again, if you bother to log in, use class time for class purposes. This particular project does require a lot of information, and you can't have that information if you're not trying to read it. Okay. Mm. Oh, and I believe a lot of you all are juniors. They asked us to make sure that you are aware of the meeting, mandatory meeting for juniors. So please make sure you're checking out. Shine is next week for high school. Oh, I see some of y'all in the picture here. Uh, in particular, make sure that you know that milestone starts April 21st. I need to write that on my calendar as well. 21st to the 26th is milestones. I don't see it in the slideshow, but they did ask us to make sure that you are aware of that. All right. The past assignments, which is due today, is the genetic engineering gizmo projects or gizmo. So make sure you've done one or the other, because today is the day that it is due. After today, it is late. So make sure you have finished one or the other. All right, attendance. All right, I do appreciate you all who sign in on time. It does make attendance taking easier. Also appreciate those of you who actually are reading, doing the assignment as requested. That also makes attendance
Excuse
taking
me.
easier.
I can't find it.
Yes, I'm listening.
I can't find
Can't,
it.
right now you should be in Canvas right now, just reading sustainability. That's the only place you need to be right now.
No, I'm trying to find it. I
And then
can't
I'll tell
find
you
it.
how you can't find the module.
No, I found the module. I just don't know where it was. I just can't find it. I'm looking for this thing. Found it.
Okay,
Never
hold
mind.
on. You found it?
I think I did. Let's see.
Okay. The module should say
Yeah.
it's sustainability and futures. And the one that you need to be focused on is sustainability practice lesson.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Looks like we only have one person physically absent, and there's about two of y'all who are present but not present. Tegan, I don't know what we're gonna do with you. And Jaquise, you should be in sustainability. All right, some of y'all pick and choose which class you're gonna pass. All right, Brooklyn, you were online and now I don't see you anymore. I do remember, folks, that you are supposed to be on camera. Part of the participation grade. You are on camera and you are engaged in the lesson. Those are the 2 points that we're looking for. On camera and engaged in the lesson. There's about 3 of you who are neither. Hmm. Okay. All right, so take a break for a minute, give your attention to the video, and then I'll go over what we need to do.
Like all living organisms, humans need resources to live. We need food, clean water, and a shelter to live in. A few thousand years ago, this is all we would have wanted: a full stomach and a warm, dry home. But as the human race has developed, we now have a need for other, more luxurious items. Maybe a bicycle or a car to get us from A to B, electricity, even the internet. All these things require resources, lots and lots of resources, such as fossil fuels and metals. Many of these resources are limited. Once all the fossil fuels have been extracted from the earth and burned to provide us with fuels and electricity, there will be none left. How will future generations of humans cope without the things we take for granted? And that's before we even consider the effect the burning of fossil fuels is having on our planet and the climate. Future generations will also have to deal with the effects of that too. This is where sustainable development comes in. One way is to use renewable resources, such as solar energy, wind and biogas to generate electricity rather than fossil fuels. Another example is using quick-growing trees, like pine, as a source of wood. These trees can be cut down and replanted, providing an ever-ready supply. This is more sustainable than using slow-growing trees, like oak, which take hundreds of years to reach maturity. Another more sustainable life choice is recycling. Recycling plastics, metals, and paper means that fewer resources need to be extracted from the earth, as we can reuse the already extracted products, meaning more resources for future generations. As the human population grows, so does the demand for food. There is limited farmland, soil fertility, water, and fish stocks, so we should also be using sustainable ways of growing, catching, and farming food. We remove more than 77 billion kilograms of fish from the ocean each year. Unsurprisingly, the number of some species of fish in the wild are declining because of overfishing. We are taking fish from the sea faster than populations can reproduce, and might go extinct if their populations continue to fall. There are several initiatives that have been introduced to help conserve fish populations and allow us to enjoy eating fish now and in the future. Fishing quotas are strict numbers of fish that limit the amount of fish and people can catch. This reduces the amount of fish being taken from the sea. The holes on fishing nets have to be large enough to let the smaller, younger fish escape. This then gives them the chance to reproduce and help maintain the population. Another solution is fish farms. Eating farmed fish reduces the number of fish being caught from the wild. It is important to realize that these initiatives have an impact on the people who rely on fishing for their income. Fishing quotas have helped to increase fish populations, but there has to be a balance between sustainable development for future generations in other food security and biodiversity in more detail. So in this video we have covered what sustainable development is and some examples including how to solve the problem of overfishing.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Comment
All right.
below if you
So
have
that's a general overview of why we're looking at sustainability and why we have why teaching and practicing, because it's not enough to learn what our sustainability practices. It's not enough to know about them. We have to be active in doing. So this is what your project is all about. All right, so again, make sure that you know where'd it go? Okay, give me 1 second to make sure that I was there. That's that one. All right, so make sure you do that. I probably didn't publish it, so give me a second. Should have been on the same PowerPoint one that you were looking at yesterday. It was up there a minute ago. Oh no, oh there it is. And it's published. So why can't you see it? Okay, so yesterday I had just had what is sustainability, and it was just a PowerPoint for you to look at. So today is the 20th. Let me view this as you. Okay, so it should have been on your home page. Is it not on your home page? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so look at what is sustainability project. All right, so yesterday I had you all looking at, for those of you who weren't working on your project, I had you looking at a PowerPoint. So this is just, and if it'll open, this is just information. What is sustainability? A lot of it is covered in Canvas, but do read this as a resource to what you're about to do. Um, it 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 looks at food because most of it, it's not only food that we're trying to be maintain because we have to eat like they show. We want to have comfortable lifestyle. Some of us eat too much and not having the basics, but we also want you to look at all sustainable agriculture. Okay. Um, some of the practices that they're using in order to process the food. We Food, you'll need to know what the FAO, there's a whole lot of organizations with a whole lot of initials, and you need to know what they are. So the Food and Agricultural Organization is something you need to be aware of. So just go through and read this if you have not read it already. The World Health Organization is WHO, and they address world hunger. Okay, Food and Agriculture, FAO again. So just go through and read this. We have one that's looking at water. So we got the World Economic Forum. And then we have vocabulary. So some of the vocabulary is also on your Canvas page. Okay. All right, organic farming, regenerative farming, practices and things that will benefit. If we do this, in what ways will we be benefited? And then a call to action. What do we need to do as global citizens? So go through this, and this is similar to what you're about to do. All right, so read that first. And then this is the project. So the project wants you to explore and analyze key environmental indicators that influence sustainability and develop an action strategy to promote sustainable living for future generations. All righty. So the topics that you want to look into are biological diversity, food production, global surface temperatures and concentrations, human population growth, and resource depletion. Now, I should put up here that you should pick two of these. And actually the last one, so pick between 1 through 4, pick 2, and then you must include number 5 in your discussion. So this is what you actually have to do. So up here, this is all information that you need to research, but this is what what your project needs to show. You need to gather data from credible sources of some of the organizations so the United Nations, the Food and Agriculture Organization, World Health, NASA, um, and use real case studies to illustrate sustainable challenges. All right, so these are our challenges up here, okay? biodiversity, food production, global warming, human population. Those are our challenges. These 5 things up here are the challenges. So you want to research that, and then part of your research come up with real situations that are happening now. So in other words, I don't want data from way back when. All right, then you want, second thing you need to analyze is to identify the trends and causes of the issue. So whichever issue, every 2 issues you pick, what is causing that issue? What are we doing to cause that issue? Evaluate the effects of unsustainable practices. In other words, in the future, if we don't fix this, what's going to happen to us in the future? Okay. Lastly, suggest sustainable alternatives, energy, eco-friendly agriculture. So come up with some practices that we should do, and then advocate policy changes and lifestyle adaptations. What, in addition to saying what we should do, the practices that we should do, how do you come up with, like if you were doing a campaign, if you're standing on the corner, yeah, we need to do this. So you come up with a slogan or a thing of, this is what, catchy little environmental phrase that says, this is what policies we need to be interested in. These are what laws we need to look at changing. That's what they mean by advocate for policy changes. What's working, what's not. Like I showed you earlier from that list, some of those laws are so old that they are not even functional um, for what we're doing, what's going on in our world now. Okay, they were made, like I said, before your time. So look at the laws that apply to whatever topics you picked, and are they still functional? How can we address them? What, we need to write our congressman. What do we need to do? Do we need to lobby? We need to assist or donate money. Money is usually a big issue in most of these things. What do we need to do? That's what we mean by advocate for policy change and lifestyle adaptations. These are the things that can be done. What should we be doing? Okay, you want to do this as a PowerPoint presentation or Google Slides. And I forgot to put down here, let me edit this so that you include your references. Let me add 5 points for references. Because if I don't tell you, you won't do it. Oops, back up here. Let me put that back down. And let me all right. Okay, so what you're doing today is you're reading. You're doing a lot of reading, you're gathering information. You can actually set up a slide if you wish, but I don't expect you to be really starting your PowerPoint today. What I would like for you to do is to spend the rest of class gathering information, doing research, reading, reading. Okay, taking notes and gathering information, organizing your thoughts. Okay, that's what you need to do with the rest of the time today. Some people ask, what is the title? This is your title here, A Path to a Greener Future. That's the title of your PowerPoint. A Path to a Greener Future is your title. Pictures should be included. Let me write that down here too. Sometimes y'all don't do that. Graphs, a lot of times there are graphs for these things. Okay, let me shift this. There. Pictures are important, so I'll take this back to 20. There we go. All right. So weigh what each section is worth. Don't sell yourself short by not including what needs to be included so that you get your full 60 points. Okay. So again, let me save that. Okay, coming back here, view it. Okay, there we go. All right, so you might need to refresh your page so that it includes all the things I just put on there. So again, your title is A Path to a Greener Future. You can have a catchy little picture on that slide. That would be nice. One of those global with the hands. That's always a nice one. You are a global steward. So this is about teaching you to be global stewards. That is the goal, to teach you how to be good global stewards. So look at the objective, and you want to make sure that your project satisfies the objective. Let me tweak this one more time. No, I said it, but I'm going to type it on here. All right, so you don't have to do all four, but you should include, you have to include resource depletion because it's going to be mentioned in your topic anyway. Defining all of them is always a good thing. It's always a good way to start. So if you start by defining it, then you can build on your definition as far as the other points are concerned. So starting with the definition is always a good thing. All right. So what do we mean by biodiversity? What do we mean by food production? What do we mean by global surface temperatures and CO2? Okay, again, you're going to pick 3 of these. Actually, you're not going to do, so of the 4, pick 3. Pick 2. I'm gonna have a little sympathy on y'all. Pick 2. 2. Andrea, I'm thinking about you, okay? I'm gonna say pick 2. Pick 2. There we go. Pick 2. But the 2 has to be, but like I said, even though you're picking 2 of them, resource depletion is going to end up in there anyway. So you're really looking at, as far as picking 2, you're looking at 1 through 4. Pick 2 of those, but also include resource depletion in your, because overconsumption affects all of these anyway. With biodiversity, he was just talking about the fish and the variety of fish. We have to regulate how much fish we fish hunting, how you have to, there's laws to regulate your hunting. So overconsumption strategies are going to touch on that. That's going to touch on food production. It's going to touch on the human population growth. Countries that don't have good resources, don't have large populations. So number 5 affects all of the other 4. So that should be included somehow in your discussion. Okay. But you can just pick 2 main topics and be all right. Okay, I'm not changing it anymore. And I'm going to stop talking. So unless you have specific questions, I'm going to stop talking, stop sharing, and let you work. So again, today you should be researching and gathering information, making an outline. Some of you don't. And folks, we do projects because y'all are, juniors, seniors, and you need to start thinking about when you go into college, you're going to do a lot of research. So this is kind of practice. Whether you go to college or some type of technical school, that you do research. You do research, you do projects, you do papers. That's what this is all about. And so this is practice. This is practice. Can't get there and have never seen a project before. So this is practice. We are coming up on milestones. A lot of that research is involved. Okay, or it should have. We don't have a milestone in environmental science, but you might have it in your other classes. English for sure. So practice, practice, practice. Please don't forget to include your references. What I always recommend, then I'm really going to stop talking, is that while you are on a website, copy and paste the web address onto a slide while you are there so you don't have to forget where you got your information from when you go on to looking up something else. Okay, one more thing. This one, all of these organizations up here, whatever topic you pick, there is an organization that is connected to it. So some organization needs to be mentioned in your research. Not all of them, but the specific one to whatever you are talking about. All right, and again, Canvas is helpful because you have this whole section on public policy. You have this whole section on all of the different acts that are legally in place in order to promote whatever topic you are looking at. Let me see how I can best answer that question. No. Okay, so up here on this one, it says gather data from you only need to gather data from, like I said, yours might only need the World Health Organization. Yours might only need the Food and Agriculture. The UN might come in only if they have policies and regulations that you want to mention. So you don't have to mention all of them. Mention which ones, and these are only a handful of the organizations that you can mention. But as you do your research, the names will come up. So you will mention somebody as a credible source, but there should be a mention of some organization that goes with your topic. Those are just samples. You should have at least one. There's some organization that is addressing your issue. And one is fine. Although, like I said, it might be your one. And so if you're looking at water, there's OSHA and places like that. You need to look at those organizations. But like I said, the UN passes policies internationally, so you might include them as well. But one is fine. One source is fine. And when you find that one source, just state a current situation that's happening now that illustrates, that emphasizes whatever point you're making. This one on trends could be a graph, and then you need to explain it. Note that the first one is the bulk of the project. These other ones actually can be a picture that you just explained the picture. Except for advocate for policy, then you actually have to give an opinion on what you will do. They call that a call to action. What should we do? Okay. And I should add, since we're going on spring break on the 31st, that basically you should try to get this done before we go on spring break, and then that's something that will be hanging over your head while you're on spring break. So you have all of next week to make sure that this gets turned in.
Excuse me, it's 11:24.
Okay. All right, so there's a couple of minutes left to class. Do you have any other questions for me? No. Okay. All right, so again, this is due next week before we go on spring break, so give that some thought. And other than that, if you have no questions for me, you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great weekend.